Like snails, retro gaming is an actual topic. As a person who loves retro gaming, in particular, in my case, Commodore 64, the Amiga, the Commodore 64, the Sega Mega Drive, Sega Master System, the Atari 2600, the Game Boy, all of them. I love them so much. And seeing the packaging of old games going to markets where they have, retro games, and everyone's so happy and smiling and there's all this love in the room because retro gaming makes some of us really happy. And so what to do with all this love of retro games? Well, without companies like Bitmap Books, we'd sort of be a little bit stuffed. And what I mean is there had to be someone who took all the things we love about retro games and stuffed it into literature. The feeling we get from retro games, it's a beautiful feeling. It's probably no different to other feelings. You might be a stamp collector, or maybe you collect snail shells, and that makes you feel happy.
Well, excellent. I think that's a wonderful thing.
So if you are a collector, a snail shell collector that is, what if you want to know more about snail shells? Well, there's plenty of things out there on the internet. Snails, for example, are from the gastropod family, and there's enough literature out there about gastropods, i.e. snails, to satisfy you as a snail or gastropod lover. Snails. They are completely underrated. I mean, look, they're the first actual homeowner, if you think about it. Have you ever thought, I'd like to pack up all my stuff and throw it in the Winnebago and just drive across America or Australia or Sweden. What a wonderful thing to do. Well, if you were a snail, the snail does have its house on its back, but that doesn't mean that it's going to be comfortable. I'm sure that when the old snail tucks up and goes into the house, there's not a refrigerator in there and a games room and a little arcade machine for the snail to... even the snail, how would it actually turn around to play the arcade game? First of all, the arcade game would be absolutely tiny. And secondly, the snail has no room to turn around. Although they are extremely slippery. I will give them that. I feel like we may have got sidetracked there. Like snails, retro gaming is an actual topic. Okay, we're going to segue from snails to retro gaming. I don't care what it takes. I don't care how many takes. We're going to segue from snails, gastropod family, to retro gamies. Retro gamies? So retro gamies. This is all about Bitmap Books. As retro game enthusiasts, we want to be able to open a book at some point when we're not holding a console or playing an arcade game. We want to read the book and we want to go,
oh yes, Double Dragon 1987. And the soundtrack for that was absolutely impeccable.
We want this information. And if people don't put this stuff into the books, then how are people generations from now going to know how cool Double Dragon was? So these ones here, for an example, right? This is... I take this book out and it reveals more books. Come on, maybe if we do this. Oh no, there's more books there.
Oh my God.
So just pretend there's not a gaping hole here and that this book is just still there. Maybe I'll lean in front of it. So this is Bitmap Books. This is the Commodore 64 Visual Compendium. Compendium? Compendium. I love this and why I love books like this is because apart from the fact that they're so beautifully put together, they have the most incredible sort of display of the graphics we love, particularly if we use the Commodore 64 as an example. You open this up and you can't help be sort of transported back to that time when you played, say, for example, Blue Max. Attack of the Mutant Camels, Archon. But what these books do is that they educate us. So not only have they put incredible pictures like this one of Bop and Rumble in there, which had an amazing soundtrack, by the way, they actually give you all the information of when that was released. It actually really brings me back. I look at this and I'm just experiencing again being at my friend Steve's house, who was the guy, my childhood friend, who him and I found Double Dragon together. And I remember looking at this game, the two of us going, oh, it's like Double Dragon. And we wanted it to be like Double Dragon so much, but it is not. Skate or Die, Bubble Bobble, of course. It's a perfect shining example of how to do an arcade port correctly. This is pretty iconic. The Last Ninja felt to me back in the day like it was like what Shadow of the Beast was for the Amiga, right? Or the Atari ST. It was this game that pushed the Commodore 64's graphics to its limits. It's such a great game and really seemed to define the Commodore 64, as did this game. If this game didn't define the Commodore 64, I don't know what did. For me, when I think about the Commodore 64, I think about IK Plus, I think about Barbarian, which has got to be in here. And I think about, there's a game called Motor Mania that I really liked. There's another game called Sabotage that I used to play on the Commodore 64. Operation Wolf was another great port. Oh my God. It's like when I open these books and I see things that I played years ago, it's like I can smell everything. I can hear what was happening in the background. What a beautiful thing nostalgia is, right? Just incredible. I mean, I could be here all day. I've just seen Rainbow Islands, RoboCop, which was really cool on the Commodore 64. I guess my point here is that Bitmap Books, they have presented to us so many books now. I mean, I have a couple. I don't have them all. I have those four, and I have this one here, which is Go Straight, the ultimate guide to side-scrolling beat-em-ups. And I mean, look at this. It is just incredible. I love this. It's got all the different sort of go right signals. What more do you want in a beat 'em up book than to have the incredibly distinctive and recognizable Streets of Rage artwork there? You can almost hear the music. Master Kishimoto, of course, wrote this section here. And how lucky are we to have that guy, the guy that created Double Dragon, to actually write this? That's, of course, Renegade, which was Double Dragon, 0, I guess. Here's Double Dragon. This is an incredible book. Look at these fold-outs. So this is the history of on-foot shooters, the run and gun. This features what I think is probably the greatest shoot 'em up game of all time, Valfaris. It is just an incredible game. The Games of a Lifetime is another great book by Bitmap. Again, like just nostalgia, just exploding off every page. Of course, the Sega Master System one, which is one of my favorites, and the Super Nintendo or Super Famicom, which it was called in Japan. So Bitmap Books are an incredible team that bring us all this beautiful nostalgia of retro video games, and they make the most beautifully illustrative and colorful books. I just love that they stick to a particular machine or console or computer with their books. And then they have other books that celebrate a particular type of gaming, be it shoot 'em ups or beat 'em ups or whatever them ups. Without Bitmap Books, we just rely on our memories and our emulated versions of the games. Sure, we can collect all this stuff, but to have an actual book, it's just this brief little history of what we all love, and just having them, just being surrounded by them in a room, it's just a beautiful thing. I think we are in such a wonderful place as retro gaming fanatics, where we can actually have books that have all this information about what we love compiled by like-minded nitwits like us that love old retro games. You must go and check out Bitmap Books if you haven't before. They are an incredible team, and they will be releasing books for a very long time from now, I'm sure. I recommend go over to Bitmap's website and check out their incredible catalogue of books. time to begin.